A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I think I'm very much audible, so everyone could hear me loud and clear, right? Yeah? Perfect. So once again, a very good morning, and I can see an audience taking their seats at different locations, different seats at their own will, but I'm going to make you a little uncomfortable if that's okay. There are seats right in front that needs to be filled, meaning the invitation goes out to you all to take seats right at the front. I'll give you 45 seconds for that. 45 seconds starts now. Right up front, ladies and gentlemen, right up front. You got 30 seconds to go. Come take your seats right up front. Invitees over there, you can come somewhere here. There are enough and more seats. No. Yep. Okay. Are we all good to go? Fine. So, welcome to the spotlight on Lost Ingredients, powered by the Lost Ingredients Lab, which is a Dilmah and Good Life X collaborative program. Now, interestingly, the real question is when you hear the term spotlight on lost ingredients, have they been lost right throughout, or have we not given enough concentration? Have you not given enough, I would say, interest to this? So let's find out from the agenda today. As the name hints, ladies and gentlemen, the Lost Ingredients Lab is about revealing to the world hidden or underutilized ingredients in Sri Lanka through value addition across the supply chain in Sri Lanka through agri-SMEs. The program's objective is to empower food and agri-entrepreneurs working in regenerative agriculture about underutilized ingredients who are then empowered to reach international recognition and scale up sustainably. Two different programs you see right over there. Garage and Accelerator were run parallelly under the LIL program. Here, 3 SMEs under the Garage program and 3 tech-related startups under Accelerator were chosen to be scaled up sustainably through mentorships, knowledge sharing, exposure visits, and capacity building. The specialty of the SMEs is that they each work with one of LIL's selected ingredients. 3, as you see on the 2 banners right over there: gotu-kola, seaweed, and jackfruit. The 3 startups are technologically equipped to support food and agri companies. Now, the 11-month program almost at the end. The 6 companies and its stakeholders have been through an incredible journey of growth, collaboration, and capacity building. Now, the project will become a blueprint for other regions by gathering experience and knowledge for effective promotion of impact business, and building on this, creating long-term, sustainable, appropriate support and network structures from which objectives of both organizations are achieved. The Lost Ingredients Lab is an initiative under Support to Small and Medium Enterprise in the Organic Agriculture Sector program of the Multi-Donor Action MDA, jointly co-financed by the European Union and the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ, implemented by Deutsche Gesellschaft für international Zusammenarbeit. The program is aimed at creating investment opportunities in the domestic agri-food sector, emphasizing the growth importance of digitalizing the domestic organic food sector, and finally supporting the organic food producers in Sri Lanka to access new markets, particularly in the EU. So some of you all, as you were walking in, you saw the exhibition area, and you saw something else is being prepared, which I'll get to in a moment. Now, well, that introduction to this morning's objectives, it is my pleasure in inviting Shamodi Nanakara, the Head of Conservation and Sustainability, Dilmah, to the lectern to start the day's proceedings. Shamodi.
Thank you, Tarindu. Good morning to all of you, and it's a pleasure to welcome all of you are seated here today for the Spotlight event of the Lost Ingredients. Before I go details into what is the Spotlight and all, let me give you all a little bit of a background about what this journey of 11 months look like, and why Dilmah Good Life X, with the kind ownership and the initiating support of the GIZ and European Union, started this venture or this project and established this into a budding platform, and inviting all of you all to grace the event here today. So, Lost Ingredients is about the agricultural heritage mixed with the climate smart technologies and the new age processing technologies to marketing and positioning tactics that we are trying to boost up the innovative agri-SME industries to the export platform. So it is almost about shedding a global spotlight on the local lost ingredients. So when I say lost ingredients, being an island nation, all of you might be having memories of when you're a child, talking, reading these fictions about treasure hunts, the stories. Whenever there's one, always the treasure is found in an island, right? So in that, taking that concept, this lost ingredients, talking about that similar kind of a lost treasure in an island nation of Sri Lanka, lost treasure are the lost ingredients. Those are the underutilized, underconsumed, under-researched agri-food ingredients of Sri Lanka. So when you talk about the export markets and the agri-export of Sri Lanka, it's always the tea, like Dilmah, tea, rubber, coffee, and spices. Since we were kids, we are known to these kind of things, right? But what is beyond that? Being a biodiversity hotspot, Sri Lanka itself harbors lots of plants and other food-grade ingredients, which is beyond these commonly exported ingredients. And while we were thinking about it, these ingredients existed in this island for centuries, right? But then the marketing and the positioning and the shedding a light on them on the export industries has not happened yet. And we and Good Life X got together to think about why it is not happening as such manner. Then we realized there are few technical and financial glitches in the system that is not allowing these ingredients that due respect or the due presence, right? One of which is the tech support, in the sense the climate smart agricultural techniques or the branding and positioning tactics, process technologies, processing technologies. So therefore, when we invented the Lost Ingredient Labs project, we harmonize the ingredients, the processing with the technical advances, right? So there are two parts in this project, and accelerator companies, the 3 companies that we selected through a process, represent different kind of technologies ranging from blockchain, different traceability techniques, coming down to the process technologies such as the dehydration and all, and the accelerator project. And then these companies, the ancillary services, supporting the lost ingredients, and as the lost ingredients, we selected with the support of cross-sectoral experts ranging from academia, research to government and to non-governmental sector. They got together because we have lots and lots of lost ingredients. We need to figure out which are the crowning elements that we are going to highlight. And we selected for this project jackfruit, gotu-kola, and seaweed, right? All these 3 ingredients were selected based on their unique importance, identifying the unique gaps to promote this in different angles. And after selecting the technologies we are going to support and the ingredients, then we selected the companies. And today, I think the Randula, the CEO of Good Life X, will be walking you through who are these guys and what we did with them, the progress that we made. But to sum up, all these interventions with the agri-technologies to the lost ingredients is done because all we are trying to do here is to get as much as collaborations possible to boost the Sri Lankan agri sector work with innovative value addition technologies and to make sure that to find out more and more exportable, marketable ingredients from Sri Lanka to boost the agri-SME sector of Sri Lanka. And personally, I'm so pleased that this is also being the kickoff project of Genesis, which is also a dedicated platform that you're seated here today. This is a common platform that any one of you can utilize. So I know that there are some granting partners here, to corporate partners, and other technology partners such as Good Life X. So I'm inviting all of you to engage with this program, listen to it carefully, what we are trying to do, and then during the networking session, I think we might have many conversations, pocket discussion to see how this process of Genesis, the partnership with Good Life X, and the other parties that we can work together and unveil goodness, boosting the sector further. And before I round up, because the CEO of Dilmah Tea, Lancy Fernando, he cannot be physically present today because of his foreign engagements at the moment. But we have a small message from him, which is only lasting for exactly 15 seconds, just to welcome you all here today with this message. Thank you all, and we hope that you'll enjoy the day today, and while getting your brains to crack and work on it, and then we can have a conversation with all the parties during the networking session at the end of the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your support in joining us today. Let's work together. Let's help build future sustainable agricultural entrepreneurs for the greater good of Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much, Shamodi. And with exactly 15 seconds from the CEO and good 8 minutes from Shamodi, I think we are all set to begin the day's agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may direct your attention once again back to the screen, Shamodi made a note as to how important the permaculture when it comes to developing what needs to be exported, quality goods when it comes to lost ingredients. So there is a video clip that talks about a visit to a permaculture farm in Rambukana that showcases the same. And it's presented by the MasterChef finalist and one of Dilmah's Tea's ambassadors, Simon Tuhi. Have a look.
I am in Forest Garden Organics in Rambukana in central Sri Lanka. This place is stunning, and let me start with the reasons why. One, permaculture practicing. They use that in this amazing farm, and so they think about the canopies above, they think about the middle ground, they think about the lower and the under, and all those come together to become a really beautiful, organic, symbiotic farm to produce great ingredients to then give that to people in a wonderful, loving way. Wow.
Smaller version of brinjal.
So like an
It's
egg,
available in the market anywhere.
like an eggplant?
It's smaller version of eggplant.
Oh, like a nightshade family. Okay, that's cool. Oh! Oh! I hit it. It is amazing. But inside's dry, no?
No, it is dry. This is for seed.
For seeds. Get rid of the ants. Grand, I'll just eat around them. Rolling skills out of 10, please. Oh, the chili's getting me already. Oh, fresh coconut. Ready, look at this. Is that it? That's everything? Yeah. Happy? Oh, thank you. This is cassava, yeah? This is the one we boiled. Who made the coconut samba?
You made it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Beautiful, plenty.
This is cassava.
Yeah. That's it. Lime. And you grew the lime. See? I'll make that at home. Cheers. Happy Dilmah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Simon Toohey. Now we've established the importance and why we need to highlight these underutilized ingredients with these amazing properties to explode. There's another party that I'd like to invite and speak to the audience today. May I have the pleasure in inviting CEO of the Good Life X to walk you through the milestones of this project. You heard from Shamodi as to how things have turned out in the last 11 months. So the stage is yours. Let me introduce Randula De Silva, the CEO of Good Life X. Randula.
Hello, everybody. Am I audible? Yes. Good morning. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm after a 27-hour journey from the United States straight into here. So apologies if I'm rambling a little bit. I didn't get my morning coffee fix, but I did get my post-sambal fix before I got here. So Simon, to his video was apt. About the program, Shamodi did an amazing walkthrough about the intentions of why we designed this and how we chose the ingredients. The program really was also designed in a way that the work that we did over an 8-month period, the program actually was 8 months, 8-month period was optimized to bring out the best potential each of these ingredients held and each of these entrepreneurs themselves held. So the program was designed as 2 tracks. One is Garage, as you see here, and that housed 3 companies that were specifically manufacturing in these ingredients. Plant-based, we have a jackfruit advocate promoting clean protein. Then we have Luck Nature, our Gotukala goddess Lakmini, whom you will meet later, and then Silan Aqua and Agri, working on seaweed. They have a beautiful farm up in the northern islands of Sri Lanka. So these guys, these 3 companies were specifically inventing in these 3 ingredients, and parallel to that, we had an accelerator program which housed 3 technology companies to kind of make this journey of these 3 ingredient-based manufacturing companies much more efficient through their technological reinvention. And these 2 tracks were running parallelly by design, because this has not been experienced or experimented before. It was an experiment for us as well as the companies, and it worked out amazingly. And after 8 months, we are here today to see the results, share that with you. And also later today, we have a demo day, which all of you are invited to, and also you're invited to watch it on a live stream if you're unable to join us, where the companies themselves will be speaking about the solid outcomes that they experience through the program. So in the 3 manufacturing companies, what the program did was did a deep diagnostic to understand what were the specific roadblocks and the pain points that were keeping them away from achieving their best potential of going out to the world and marking their name and the name of Sri Lanka where it should be with this ingredient. After identifying that, we matched them with the particular experts that could work with them to go beyond those roadblocks. So it's not a curriculum-based program. It's a very customized, tailor-made program specifically according to the pain points of the each companies and each ingredients that we identified and worked with. And then the accelerator program was also a similar process with a different set of experts because that's a technological-oriented program. Savru Tech works on dehydration technology, home-built, all made in Sri Lanka, and world-class technology there. Nifron working on blockchain solutions, and Polar working on cold chain solutions. And these companies were working parallelly together with the manufacturing companies, the garage companies, and worked with each other as pilots to experiment and test their solutions on each other. And I'll share an experience that we had during the program, which was when the 6 companies visited the organic trade fair, BAFA, in Germany. And this was, they didn't have a stall. Lost Ingredients Lab didn't have a stall because we believe in hacking the system. We believe in hacking all systems in order to work for us, in order to work for the future, the people who are trying to do things afresh. So what we did was we went there, we had already meetings matched up for these entrepreneurs, different suppliers, different certification bodies, different partners. And it was almost like having 6 sets of feet on the ground for each company. Everybody was looking out for each other and looking at what kind of connections and collaborations will benefit each other. And it was actually fascinating even for experts at Biofarc who worked with us to see for the first time a blockchain company approach with a seaweed manufacturing company together. And that kind of a solution, that kind of a collaboration was not seen in a very old, very big, very large international trade fair before. So very, very proud as Sri Lankans that we did that, and we will continue to do that together with Lost Ingredients Lab. So this program essentially is to bridge the old and the new, is to bridge the manufacturing sector with the technological sector, is to bridge SMEs with the startups. And that's what the Garage and the Accelerate program here is meant to do. That's what we tried to do. For the 8 months, we had almost, I've lost count, 15 experts working with us day in, day out, and a few of them are here with us today. So this really is what the program was all about. And a lot of it can be measured in terms of access to new markets internationally, in terms of process efficiency, in terms of resources efficiency. But a lot of it also cannot be tracked because the change that you experience in your mindset, in the way you look at things, in the way you look at your own ingredient, in the way you value what's growing in your backyard, in the way you value what a tech entrepreneur has to offer to a very traditional manufacturing company, and the way you value a very traditional manufacturing company and what it has to offer to you and your supply chain. So these are the immeasurable, intangible things that we achieved with this program, but we, with our past experiences, know that even the intangibles show results in time to come. So the true results, the roundabout 360-degree results, ladies and gentlemen, you will also see in the next 12 to 24 months to come. So watch this space, trace these entrepreneurs, look at their journey. We are incredibly proud of what they have achieved in the past 8 months, but it's not done yet. More is to come. They know it, we know it, and we want you to see it. So this is the journey of the Lost Ingredients Lab, and there'll be many more ingredients that we are experimenting with in future together with Dilmah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Randula. For a team who believe in hacking the old system and, of course, provide opportunities to bridge old and new, and not forgetting bridging manufacturing and technology. Kudos to the team, and there's much to be grateful for as audience is concerned. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as Randula mentioned, we've identified 6 champions, and in the evening is their pitch day, where they will walk about their journey in the Lost Ingredients Lab program and will have the opportunity to appeal to potential investors. You may have seen a marquee as you would walk in right outside, and that essentially is the place that we are having the event. So invitation goes to you once again. The time is 6 p.m. If you could be here by 5:45, there's guaranteed a seat available for you. Moving on. Now, Randula said they looked into 2 aspects, the tech and the ingredients. Now, before we dive into ingredients, let's take a look at the technical element of things. We all know there's a significant involvement in tech in today's food and agri, no doubt. So let us take you through a video as to how tech companies have come through the accelerator program that can support food and agri industry. In the video, you will encounter, number 1, Hola, a real-time end-to-end traceability solution to ensure safety from farm to fork. Number 1. Number 2, there's a pitch from Saviru, a state-of-the-art dehydration manufacturer, and Niftron, who is simplifying blockchain for any industry, even agri, through a plug-and-play model. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Miller Alexander from SenseMate IoT Intelligence. We are focused on IoT and AI technology solutions for farm-to-fork traceability and post-harvest and storage technologies. So our ultimate focus is to make sure farm process and agriculture process, value addition and food processing environment happens uniformly throughout the value chain. And we are based out of Sri Lanka and operating in 4 different countries in North America and Europe, and working around in 17 countries and supporting global food chain with make sure it's uniform and quality enough to sustain and support the world's food demand.
Hi, I'm Sentran here, and I'm here to introduce about our Polar device, which monitors the temperature, humidity, and door monitoring, and also light sensor and the GPS tracking. So there are some few benefits from our device, which are the normally in the meat and the food industry, that keeping the temperature in a threshold level, it is an important.
Hi guys, I'm Sharman Somasundaram, co-founder and CEO of Niftron. So Niftron is a blockchain as a service platform that offers variety of blockchain-based applications and no-code platforms for businesses. And one of our main product is called DPro. So it's a decentralized profiling for blockchain using different industries inputs and for the traceabilities. So one of our clients are Korean SPA. So they are the ones doing Korean SPA is the accessories manufacturer for hangers and different plastic equipments. And we are working with them to do a complete traceability of their manufacturing from the material till it's going to the dispatch to the clients.
It's been 20 years since we started operations as Saviru Technologies and Services, offering various kind of dryers and dehydration technology to the country. We have come a long way, and now proud to say that we are the premier dryer manufacturer in Sri Lanka. More than a dryer manufacturer, we provide a full package of dehydration services to the country. That includes dryers manufactured under Saviru brand, as well as the dehydration technologies to the various businesses and SME sector. We have 2 arms of our businesses. One is of course the manufacture of dryers, and the other arm is the dehydration technology center. Through that center we provide dryer technology training, contract manufacturing, as well as SME incubation services.
Saviru Spices is an extension of the Saviru Technologies and Services. Here we do a model processing to give the true Sri Lankan identity for the pure Ceylon spices, herbs and other natural foods in dehydrated form. Here we have developed two brands, Saviru for the local high-end market, Amayu for the export market. Then we show other customers how to do a premium quality product for the export market.
Come on, we need to give them a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. The three companies that were shortlisted for the pitch this evening, that was their introduction. So certainly there's ways and means that we could elevate our involvement in food and agri with conscious and proper use of tech. So thank you very much once again for the introductions from the three tech companies. Now, as Shamodi mentioned, and as you are very well aware of, Sri Lanka is an island nation that is surrounded by 8 times the size of land is the water mass. Are we in agreement with that? Yeah? And what carries in the ocean are seaweed. So one of the top ingredients in the LIL's journey has been seaweed. The potential it carries nutritionally and the positive impact it can make on the environment and for communities through uplifting livelihood with right directions to make use of the possibilities alone. Now, but as we all know, ladies and gentlemen, it is still underused and not widely known. So let me invite Mr. Sivaram Kulendran, a seaweed expert, to speak to us about the potential market for seaweed and how it can be developed in Sri Lanka for the export market. And towards the end of his introduction, he will introduce Mr. Sean Senrath, who is the co-founder at Ceylon Aqua and Agri. He's an ambassador at the Safe Seaweed Coalition, a UN-based organization, has written articles for international aquaculture publications such as Infofish. Through Ceylon Aqua and Agri, he is looking to innovate and create scalable seaweed farms while empowering local coastal communities. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to Sivaram Kulendran.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today, and I am very privileged to be in Sri Lankan forum. I have done these presentations about seaweed in international forums. It is an honor to have it in Sri Lanka because we are talking about Sri Lanka. So I will just run through some slides to give you a potential, or unlocking the potential of seaweed in Sri Lanka, and to give a global perspective so that in Sri Lanka, people are still not aware. We are little pioneers on the seaweed industry. So we will my topic will be unlocking industrial potential, and this is how compared to all about sustainable nutrition from the ocean. So I will just give some few slides to show the potential on the global scenario. So you can see here, on the global aquaculture market, it is around $281 billion market, and in that microalgae, that is seaweed, is $16.5 billion, and in which Asia dominates 91%. So Sri Lanka is hope, you all believe Sri Lanka also in Asia. So you can see the growth, wild collection and cultivated, where cultivation is taking over, and this is the statistic from FAO, and I will just run through how fast because there are a lot of slides. So the leading role taken by Asia, mostly Indonesia and China. You can see the graph. And other Asian countries also taking a big role nowadays. And you can see the main varieties which has potential, like there are a lot of varieties, there are millions of varieties or species in the water. But aquaculture wise or wild culture wise, commercially potential varieties are around 4 or 5. And in that, I think Sri Lanka is growing, growing one seaweed and one is wild cultured. So you can see Ecumenotites, that is the red seaweed which is being cultivated by Ceylon Aquagri and other companies in Sri Lanka. And Gracilaria is what is wild harvested. So you can see the growth happening from 2005 or last 2 decades. And what is the seaweed farming model? So like agriculture, this has a model which is like seedling, and this is actually called as aqua agriculture. So it is being cultivated in the sea. So, but it doesn't need a land, fertilizer or water. So this only needs sunlight and salinity. So you can see seedling, then farmed in the sea, and then processed and having end product. Very short value chain. And people, all the companies in the world are trying to increase productivity of the seeds or the seedlings and improve the market access to farmers. So farmers are very much grassroots level farmers, so outgrower level. So supply chain traceability is nowadays a lot of companies or buyers are seeking. So main challenges, so you might know about main challenges. So there is a very much shortage of raw seaweeds, that is seedling material. So that is also one of the lacking in Sri Lankan seaweed industry. And inconsistent pricing, because it can be only grown, this tropical seaweed can be only grown 10 degrees to the equator. So like countries like Sri Lanka, Philippines, Indonesia, India, some parts of Chile, Brazil can be grown. So demand is entire world. So it has a high inconsistent pricing. For example, the price has doubled in the COVID times because of the inconsistent pricing and the logistic issues. And there is a heavy usage of plastics, that means ropes and water bottles, and the poor quality of seed and poverty. These are the main challenges. So what is the power of seaweed? Everybody is talking about seaweed, and it is a very sustainable and renewable, versatile product. Because you can see, it is creating 50 million jobs in the world, and 50 times greater carbon absorption than the reforestation happening in the terrestrial forest. And 48 million square kilometers, I think he told about 4 times bigger than Sri Lanka. But entire world, there are 48 million square kilometer ocean can be used, which are not used. And you can see other natural environment getting benefited, like ocean acidification and balance, methane emission, carbon absorption, fertilizer. It has been used as natural biofertilizer. So these are the main, and everyone will ask, what are the benefits? Why are we growing seaweed? What are the products? So you might not know, from morning you should have brushed your teeth. The toothpaste has seaweed. Because of that, it giving that taste or like that slimy effect. And you must be having beer in the night, or like it will having a seaweed. And you will having a medicine or like a Panadol, which will have a seaweed in it. And you will be having a cream or like a cosmetic, which will have. So these are the main products, broader category: animal feed, organic chemicals, agri inputs, biofuel, food additives. Food additive is the market, the bigger market in from the seaweed which is grown in Sri Lanka. So 50% of SDG goals are achieved by growing seaweed. 50% of ocean's oxygen has been given by seaweed, and 2 times of ocean plant can store the carbon, and 3 trillion market. So this is another slide where you can see there is no refrigeration required, less water, no fat, sugar, and cultivated by family farmers. I think Dilmah is family business, these are family farmers, and no fresh water required, no fertilizer, arable land. 7 billion people need this product. So these are the statistics on commercial seaweed market. 10.5 CAGR growth is happening, and market size is 70.85 billion USD, and forecasted to 2030 by $48 billion. So these are the key companies. I think none of the Sri Lankan companies are there, but there are most US and other companies who have food-based or food ingredient-based companies are leading. But Asia Pacific is fastest growing region or in the CAGR market, and China is in that fastest growing because they are the highest processing happening, and rapid growth is happening in Asian countries. So we will come into Sri Lankan market. Sri Lanka has seaweed resource around the country because it's an island nation. And, but very little potential has been unlocked, and little aquaculture is still happening. And recently we have done a zoning where can be grown, and mostly in northern islands and northern sea basin, that is called Manar Sea Basin. Nagda and Nara had done a lot of studies. I was involved from 2010. We have pioneered through Haley's, which had a CSR project in the north. And first seaweed draft was floated in 2010 or 12, and now it has been commercialized. And there are 2-3 companies now in the market, and highly operational happening in Punarin, that is Kilnochi district. Last week also I visited with Sean, and trials have been successful in Jaffna Islands. There is a huge potential in Delft Island, which has the highest coastal line. And why Sri Lanka should go into community aquaculture or aqua agriculture? Because we have been Indian Ocean and marine resources like India's poaching, our income is going down. Northern fisherwomen, after post-war, a lot of women-head households, they can't go fishing. So there is need of diversification. Last week when I was talking with, going with Sean, I was talking, they were telling, we are no more going for fishing. We are doing seaweed and sea cucumber. We are going culture-based fisheries. We are dependent on culture-based fisheries. So they have a ready market. So they are now being, when I was started first time, floating a first raft, we have to pay them to float a raft. Now they are asking, we are producing, can you buy? So that is the level. It has been upgraded last 10 years. So these are the South Asian fishing communities like Sri Lanka, linking to global market chain. These are the culture models. I think now Sri Lanka is practicing this raft and multiple long line. This is a very primitive model which is not suitable for Sri Lanka. So Nara with seed bank, there is a huge lacking of potential seedling in Sri Lanka. So as an island nation, we have not done any technology development on tissue culture, but we are trying to have a seaweed tissue culture lab with the ADB support recently, which was on hold. But other countries like Philippines have been and all, where the seed is produced by tissue culture, so which is lacking in Sri Lanka. Other seaweed species Sri Lanka could diversify. Gracilaria is already been harvested wild, collected and exported. In you might know about Trincomalee, Muttur, Kinya area. And Gracilaria saliconia is currently harvested and exported to India for fertilizer. Chloropa is available naturally, but not yet been cultivated. Sargassum also wild collected for fertilizer. Padina is another species which is for cosmetic purpose, mainly skin disease. And this is the another marker, like new avenues which can be exploited in Sri Lanka, where other countries have exploited, mainly poultry and cattle animal feed. So there is a huge trend in most of the European and US market about methane conservation through a particular variety of seaweed which can give gut health for the animal or cattle feed. So this has a great big market, could be identified. So what are the potential value chains? So we are currently exporting as raw seaweed, where we get very less market, like $1 a kilo. But if we do alkaline treated chips, which will double the market. And when you do a semi-refined, which will do triple the market price. And food grade, quadruple. So then gel pressed. So when you do the final product of a carrageenan, which is a food additive, which will have a great potential. But Sri Lanka production is less, but we should have a different models like importing from India and doing a processing here, or we are in the global market. So how is the global production volumes of the seaweed currently we are cultivating? So 8 million wet weights have been in Indonesia and total 10 million. Where you can see other countries are a little bit reducing, where Sri Lanka could be able to, I'm just running through. And this is the high-level supply chain overview where we can come into any level to get into this market supply chain. So this is the Kyrgyzstan market volume, where 50,000 tons is a global demand. So the current price at this is 2,000, I think, little bit 10 rate. Now it has been $2,000 a ton. The raw material is going to Sri Lanka, exported, but see the final product value. So how China is accelerating the market. You can see these are the areas, all the Kyrgyzstan factories are available in China. So I have been to China. These factories are now also importing from Sri Lanka, importing from other countries. So these are the producers. So they are importing and processing and sending to Europe, sending to other countries. So these are the key companies which is doing bigger processing factories. These are the second level, third level. So how China has landscape seaweed demand. So Sri Lanka is no second to China. So we are very much closer to Europe. So largest importers, you can see China and Japan. And red seaweed we are growing is 52% of global market supply chain. So these are the key companies: Cargill, DuPont, FMC, and Biostate from India, CP Kelco Philippines. So these are the global players who are already in this market. So changing global structure, next South Asia could be the key market route, because we are in the air route and sea route, so GSP plus. So this is the only country which could connect Southeast Asia, South Asia, and Europe and other US market. Because Sri Lanka was not ready, those days they have invested in Philippines and other countries, so we can get the market. And you can see Asia Pacific is 48% of market share, which is 28% is China. So the success story is how corporate, social, and crop factors get together to the success cube. So I would like to call upon Sean, how he's succeeding in this transforming lives of seaweed farmers in Sri Lanka. So he will give a Sri Lankan scenario or the case study. Hi, Sean.
Hi. It's such a privilege to be sharing the stage with you, Sivaram, as a pioneer of the industry, truly. So I think there's so much opportunity, and I like to really bring back to the fact where how much jobs and how much potential on the global scale this has. In Indonesia, this provides over 1 million jobs to so many people, 1 million jobs, right? And over 53% of the aquaculture industry is seaweed. So what if we could take that and replicate even a fraction of that success? What would we be able to do for the people of Sri Lanka? So when we went on this journey, I think even when we went together, we saw how there were several different communities that their whole livelihood and their empowerment is purely through seaweed. And I think that was so fantastic for us to see. And what if we can replicate this model and make it in a way that we can take this around to different communities and help them empower themselves and lift them out of poverty as well? So what are your thoughts on how could we possibly maybe do that as well? I think that's really interesting, because what we really want to do is bring the methodologies from the experts and see how we can do it in a feasible way. Another way that we can really entice the communities is by kind of trying to cut off middlemen as well as much as we can, so we can link the farmers directly with the rest of the world. I think that's also another interesting thing that we are trying to pioneer, is no middleman, where we are directly putting the farmers out to the rest of the world. So, yeah.
That's the story. So there are few companies are now doing seaweed farming, or like directly connecting farmers to the export market. But there are few traders from India also trying to poach. So we should be very smart enough to get the processing factories set up in Sri Lanka, and different processes or different value chain, different matters. Today in the demo day, you will see a seaweed salad being done by our chef from, I think, Water Stage. And there are other products, gel and other products being evaluated. So rather than being a raw material supplier, we should have a processed food products. Or for Sri Lankan organic fertilizer, there was a hype in Sri Lankan organic last few years back. So there was huge demand for seaweed for fertilizer, which is biostimulant. So there's a huge potential we are yet to unlock. We are just in baby steps. So I would call upon, like Sri Lanka can be a next Philippines or next Indonesia for entire world of success story, and it can be the next tea for Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So Dilmah can become the second success story of seaweed, become the next Ceylon seaweed, which can be the brand, can be marketed all over the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
In looking out for the next big name in the global market for seaweed. Thank you very much. That was Mr. Sivaram Kulendran, the seaweed expert, and Sean Sinarath, the co-founder at Ceylon Aqua and Agri. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them another big round of applause for their comments. Certainly there's a lot that can be done in this island nation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, while Lost Ingredients Lab has been a joint initiative to uncover and elevate some of the lost ingredients in Sri Lanka, you just heard from one, the Genesis project is pleased to name its demo kitchen. So Sivaram was in fact giving a hint to the audience right here as to what's going to happen in another couple of minutes. Now, as you walked in, you would have noticed there's a kitchen area. A kitchen area right behind you. Now, hang in there for a moment, okay? It is also known as the Lost Ingredients Lab. So we believe that this will be a place where culinary and food innovations will be birthed to take Sri Lanka's lost ingredients to the world. Now, today marks that historic moment of unveiling the demo kitchen, also known as the Lost Ingredients Lab. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a treat for your senses. In processing, promoting, and exporting lost ingredients, we often miss out on a few of the stakeholders involved in it. Now, these could be those who researched about the ingredients, experimented about it, helped identify the taste, or how to use the ingredients. Now, in its essence, we simply should not ignore hospitality and culinary industries that make use of these. Now, there are experts when it comes to dealing with food-grade ingredients and can correctly use these ingredients to elevate their taste, their texture, look, and even the mouthfeel. In doing so, they give much-needed exposure to these lost ingredients, thus providing a platform for these ingredients to break into international markets, as Sivaram mentioned. Who would want to taste the next best-feeling toothpaste in another 2 years' time? I'm just kidding. There's much more that you could do with it. Now, the chef behind us, so I was referring to a kitchen. So a kitchen requires a chef. The chef behind the culinary infusion, he's a chef consultant for Waters Edge Hotel, and previously he has worked for the Hilton chain of hotels in Colombo, UAE, and the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, your chef at the Lost Ingredients Lab today is Chef Anura Unduvara Arachi. Now, you have a task now, ladies and gentlemen. So earlier, I got you a little uncomfortable by getting you all to stand up and make your way to the front. For the next couple of minutes, can I invite you to do something else for me? Now, you saw there was a kitchen. I just introduced the chef, and you know what needs to be done. Can I ask all of you, or if you want to, you can make your way to the kitchen right over there for the next couple of minutes and feel as to what is being made. Of course, there was a hint from Mr. Sivaram as to what is going to be made, but of course, I'm not very sure if all of you will get a treat in terms of tasting it, but at least you will get to know how to prepare that seaweed salad. But not just with seaweed, it'll include gotokola as well as jackfruit as well. So, can I please invite you all to rise from your seats and make your way right to the back to the kitchen. For those who wish to remain seated, they can see the same on the screen as well, but you won't be able to feel the entire thing. So it's always best to make your way and feel yourselves.
I will put it from that side. Okay. Yeah. And you are from middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
All have to do it from left for the turn this. Yeah.
Ah.
Shall we do it? Are we good to go? Are we good to go? We're ready. Are you ready? Okay. One, two. Woo! Oh, it's not coming. Okay, yay. You're looking good, yeah. It's going to be the lost ingredient labs. Sorry, I'm taking one second. But this is actually a really pleasurable moment for both Dilmah and Good Life X because but the partnership worked so well for us, we thought of cementing it for eternity on Genesis walls. This represents the partnerships that we need to embrace, not only between Dilmah and Good Life. This represents all the partnership between private to public, private to innovative agencies like Good Life X and so many other collaborations. These two, as a tribute to those collaborations that will happen in future. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll give the podium to Chef. He will just do a quick demo with his speech.
Thank you very much. Hi, good morning. I'm Chef Anura. I'm very pleased to do the Lost Ingredient Lab demonstration. So, I'm going to do a nice salad with lost ingredients in Sri Lanka. It's unutilized ingredients, very healthy and very organic. So, first of all, I will introduce and go to color and jackfruit. This is baby jackfruit and jackfruit seed. I'm using the cowpea. It's very nutritious, healthy beans in Sri Lanka, and coconut, roasted coconut, fresh coconut, and sesame. So I will show you how to do the salad. First, go to color, you can eat very fresh. You don't have to cook. It's real good taste in this. And baby jack, we have partly boiled. And the jack seed also boiled and sliced. And the cowpea, the red color, is very full of nutritious. And the roasted coconut. And I do a special dressing to go with this healthy salad. It's all organic ingredients, like low ingredients. It's a wood apple pulp, has a lot of citrus taste in this. And this is Kitul honey. Kitul. The most important is virgin coconut oil. They are really good for health. Some say it's bad, but it's really good when you use real virgin coconut oil. It has a unique taste. It has a nice color and a texture, and I will season with little salt and organic pepper, crushed pepper. So just before I add to my salad, I will taste the dressing. It's really good, natural taste. So I will toss with the dressing and the salad together. Then again, I will dress some dressing over the salad like this to give more taste. Then I sprinkle with sesame. It's a very healthy seed. It's organic. Here you go. It's a very light salad, good for lunch. So please enjoy. So today with my menu, with my dishes, I have had lost ingredients unutilized in Sri Lanka. So you will experience that. And future, we have to go beyond to promote this in our hotel sector and culinary and hospitality sector to show demonstration this and to the guests and let them encourage with our low ingredients, underutilized ingredients, and to promote Europe or the export quality, export market, do demo like and have recipes with your packing, the way how to make the salad or the dishes. So please, or we can add we finalize the how the way to make the salads and the main courses or the cocktail canopies with our low ingredients, underutilized ingredients. So thank you very much for having a look at my making a salad. So thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, as yummy as it looks, of course, some of you could actually go ahead and taste it as well. And of course, let me invite you all to explore the exhibition area for the other products that are out there before you take your seats at the town hall area. Ladies and gentlemen, this announcement is for those who are in the kitchen area. Can I invite you back to your seats as we are about to continue with the agenda? Once again, the announcement goes back to the invitees who's in the kitchen area, the LIL kitchen area. You are requested to come back and take your seats. Thank you very much. And I can still see a few of you lurking around in the exhibition area. Let me be very precise. Even if you are at the exhibition area, let me invite you back to the town hall area as we are about to continue with the agenda. Okay. So who here have tasted the meat? There's one. Only one, is it? 2, 3, 4. How many of you have? 5. All right, the next question is, how was it? Excellent. Brilliant. Do you know how to make it now? Yourselves? Yeah? Okay, fine. I need an address of one of yours to come and taste it myself, because when I went there, I couldn't have it for myself. Everything is gone. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this goes out to anyone who's not yet taken their seats at the town hall area as we are continuing with the agenda set for this morning still. Now, we talked about the importance of researching underutilized ingredients, taking seaweed as an example because it's almost a missed out ingredient in Sri Lanka with regard to its export potential as it was showcased earlier. Then you saw how the taste and the profiling of the ingredients took place through a renowned chef. And however, as we all know, the potential of these dials down to the economic outputs. Now, more than ever in these trying times where we need to innovate solutions for Sri Lanka, not just to export raw material, but to add value to it and export the same. So without a doubt, with what you saw today, Lost Ingredients Lab project is an innovative venture that can bring some level of much needed economic boost to this country. But to do that, we need to build the capacity of these agripreneurs and continue to have similar projects to strengthen them until we get that impact. So, to talk about the economic barriers and opportunities, let's have Sahan Bakmiwewa, one of the champions of this project, a renowned economist, tagging along with him renowned economist Anushka Vijayasinghe, to present their thoughts to the audience today. Ladies and gentlemen, Sahan Bakmiwewa and Anushka Vijayasinghe. Let's give them a hand.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to join you today, and I'm pleased to be joined on stage by Sahan, who many of you might know already by now, and probably and hopefully get to taste some of his delicious products. So this is definitely not going to be an economics discussion, but I think we need to understand for a moment that even as we celebrate these lost ingredients and we celebrate the coming together of innovative products with interesting people who make interesting things with it, the sustainability angles and all of that, at the heart of it is business, is pragmatic market opportunities, thinking around financial feasibility. So that's really what the focus of our conversation over the next 15 to 20 minutes between Sahan and I are going to be. And frankly, for me, this is going to be, me being very curious and asking Sahan questions that I've always had, and perhaps it also channels some of the questions that you might have about Sahan's business, but also what it means for businesses like him. So, Sahan, let's kick things off.
Sure.
I want to get a sense from you, going from discovering this ingredient, or maybe some of the other entrepreneurs also, at the heart of it was a lost ingredient that they then try to take global. So for you, what was the entry point for you in making this a workable, financially feasible product that you could export as an SME exporter in this food space?
Sure. So Anushka, for me, I'd be one of the lucky guys because I've been in the export business for about 8-9 years, and customers, as an organic spice exporter, and a lot of customers were asking about young jackfruit, and for me it came as a surprise because that has been an ingredient which has always been there in our dining tables, but as in very normal. I was thinking, okay, why are these Westerners, Europeans asking for this ingredient? And that's when I started to realize, okay, young jackfruit has a texture like meat, hence why the Westerners want to basically use that as a vegan or as in vegan product or meat alternative. So that's I identified that trend since like 2016, and from there onwards it was basically gathering market insight, customer demand, and basically coming towards a value-added product for what we have today.
So I think, just to understand, you were already an exporter but in a commoditized product like
Exactly.
spices, and during your market visits you got a sense from the market that this is a new trend. So kind of it was lost to you, but others had already started to discover it. And
They had already found it, yes.
Yeah, okay, very interesting. Let's unpack a little bit the mechanics of getting into this space and being successful. What are some of the practical steps you take as an entrepreneur when thinking about new products and ensuring that there's market feasibility, really keeping your eye on what the practical business potential here is? Is it trade shows, or is it, I don't know, online market research that you do to look at your competitors, or you simply do the R&D around the product and then try to push it out to the market? What's your process really?
So it's actually all of that. So we start off when we start receiving inquiries through our website, other e-platforms. That's where initially we get an understanding of a potential or a product which will have good demand in the future. Then we basically do a feeler through trade shows. Then once we have first-hand feedback from customers, we come back, basically try to develop an initial product, take it to another trade show, get first-hand customer information, get the feedback again, then come back and try to develop a final product. So it's the entire process from idea to trade show to R&D, then basically customer testing, and basically the final product.
So you use those visits to actually fine-tune the product or fine-tune the marketing of the product?
Both are things. So also trade shows help you understand what kind of packaging, the design, those kind of elements which is available in the as in target markets. Hence we are able to not just get the product right, but also the packaging and the entire offering so that it suits the relevant target market.
So you actually did make changes to the product based on the feedback you got from buyers when you took the product out?
So 100%. So I'll give one example. So when we were doing trade shows last year, our patty was cold chain, so it needs to be kept in refrigeration. And most of the buyers, as soon as they hear that it's cold chain, they're like, we're not touching this because it's very expensive and not everyone can get into that space. Hence, we had to basically modify our packing technology. We retort it, so it's shelf stable now. Then this year when we went and reached trade shows, we were like, yes, we got it right on the nail here.
Nice. Okay. So I think that's a good takeaway, the importance of using that market exposure to either validate the product you have that it works, or actually realize where you need to refine, rather than just taking a fully baked product and expecting it to sell as is.
Correct.
I want to talk a little bit more about this aspect of the go-to-market strategy for businesses like yours and perhaps others like you. There are debates happening now, and frankly, especially those of us who are involved in this space around international trade and exports, there's this debate about should we take a value-added product through a brand-building exercise to the shelves of international retail markets, or should we perhaps start more modest and take the value-added product through contract manufacturing for someone else, white labeling, etc., to take it to these international markets? So Sahan, from your point of view, I mean, we can't generalize your experience to everyone, but from your experience, what did you see in the market as being feasible? Was it the drive hard on the pure brand building effort, or was it the value-added product, but through a more contract manufacturing kind of supplier model?
So brand building is a long-term strategy, and you need to have a lot of financial muscle to basically get the product out, create awareness, get the channels right, hence it's long-term. However, if you are starting up, especially with minimal financial resources, then I would suggest, as in what worked for me was entering a commodity market first, doing contract manufacturing, offering bulk spices to private labels. Then after some time, basically bringing our brand into the picture. Still, in terms of our branded sales, it's about 10% of our total turnover, whereas 90% is about bulk and as in contract manufacturing of private labels. Hence, but over the next 5 years, we want to bring it to a situation where it's about 50-50. So what we did was initially to basically keep our first step in international markets, to start with contract manufacturing and bulk exports, then slowly move towards the branded exports.
So when you say bulk exports, you still mean the value-added, for example, the vegan burger patty, right?
So when I say bulk, it's bulk commodity plus contract manufacturing of the value-added products.
Okay, okay. And what so far? What are your sense about the journey that you'll have to go from this white label products to own brand with a, like you say, a heavy marketing muscle behind it,
right?
To see, your product on more shelves as a Sri Lankan brand.
So it's pretty tough. So because even the importers, they would, as most of the importers now, they wouldn't really want to carry someone else's brand. They would want to have their own brand in shelves. Hence, we would basically need to find distributors who are willing to do that, or basically even go passing them directly to retailers through category management brokers or retail brokers in general. So it's a different plus harder strategy than exporting in bulk and contract manufacturing. Plus, if you are contract manufacturing or private labeling, they would basically be taking care of the entire marketing aspect, and your job ends when you basically get the products to whatever country. But here, it's actually the start of the journey.
So we'd like to talk about the potential of digital for cutting through some of these layers. Is that something that's feasible for a product like yours, a B2C strategy using digital, or not quite yet?
So given what is already available in the market, as in e-commerce websites, then 3PL warehouses, so still an e-strategy is very feasible to basically test the market. So that's what we actually use to basically test the main markets we want before really going on a big banner approach of identifying distributors and category management brokers, because these guys come with crazy retainers and commissions from the product sales.
Okay. I want to move on to a couple of questions I think that many of us sometimes have is about the price point.
Right.
And what kind of premium you can get for Sri Lankan products. Some people argue that our cost of production is a little higher compared to some of our competitors, perhaps like Thailand. But at the same time, we have a pretty good reputation, right, for quality, on-time delivery, the fact that it comes from a country that's, people are associating it from a tourism and natural beauty standpoint as well. What has your experience been on where to place the price point for products like this? Yeah. So can we really get that premium? Are others capturing the premium where we are not?
So I'll bring in my experience being a bulk or spice commodity exporter. Now, given the quantities or the economies we have in Sri Lanka, we definitely cannot compete with regions like, for example, India, China, Vietnam, Indonesia. Hence, we basically definitely need to go with a niche strategy. And when it comes to that, playing on a value-added field really makes it easy. However, still from a price point, we are quite expensive. However, still it's cheaper than, for example, now let's say young jackfruit-based value-added products. There are some customers who basically import it into Europe and manufacture the product there. Us manufacturing and basically adding most of the value here gives us that edge. So we'll be able to compete with a person who basically tries to import and make the final value addition there. So from a price perspective, we have better value there.
In terms of capturing even more value here, even a higher price premium, what do you think it will take? Is it telling a better story? Is it having a vastly innovative product? Is it having 5 times more certifications and quality standards than your competitor? What do you think it'll take to get,
So it's actually all of that. For example, you need to have the highest certification, the organic certification to factory system certification, then traceability certification, and now people are not just interested about sustainability, they want to go beyond and say call a product regenerative. So there are different concepts coming up. Then there's fair trade. So likewise, more certification, again, it's very expensive, but the more certification you have, the better chance you have in a target market to basically break in. And then there's the story element, the community impact. And it's basically about the impact, whether it's environmental, societal, or for the community. Especially Europeans are more concerned about the impact than just the price point. So that's definitely a USP we can utilize as an island nation to compete in international markets.
So as we kind of move to the end of the conversation, we can't not talk about some of the challenges, right? So what are some of the biggest obstacles or bottlenecks that you have faced? Is it banks not understanding your unique business model, or the fact that you're a young entrepreneur with no prior business track record? Or is it supply chain, supply side issues? Or is it all to do with the external market end of things? Or is it, I don't know, on this end, regulatory barriers? For you, what has your practical experience been? And I don't know if you can give us some examples of those obstacles, even better.
Sure. So again, like the previous questions, Anuj, you touched on all the points which are applicable. So let me go back and say a certain part of my journey where I had to go through these obstacles. So in 2017, when I was in the spice business, I wanted to put up a factory, the spice factory. So I bought a land in 2017. I had to go through 8 departments to get approval to set up this factory, and it took 13 months. And by the time the approvals came in, I was like, okay, this is something I don't want to do. If just getting the approvals is this difficult, what about running it? Then when the plant-based revolution was happening in the world, I thought okay, now's a good time to build the factory, since I anyways had the approval. So in 2021, I started building the factory. And well, when it comes to financing, we were working with the bank, and of course we requested for a loan, financing. And we didn't ask for much, we were only asking for about 40% of the entire investment. And so we started construction in June of 2021. And the loan actually came in January of 2022, when we were done with about 90% of the construction. And believe me, I had to sit through so many meetings and presentations, and in the final presentation, even the COO of the bank with the entire risk management committee sat, and it's supposed to be a development bank. So that was one issue. Then from a market perspective, certainly there are, as in, for example, if you are targeting, let's say, Asian nation, when it comes to the recipe, recipe of the value-added product, sometimes it's too less spicy. If it's Europe, it's too spicy. So getting the taste palette, as in getting the product right for each of the taste palettes of each of the regions, is a pretty challenging job. So you need to cater your strategy based on each of the markets. So yeah, these are some of the challenges I've had to go through.
So on the banking thing, I have a couple of roles in banks, so I got very intrigued when you mentioned this. If you had to redo that journey, or you had to give some hacks to others who might be struggling, what do you think you could have done this differently, or what was the tactic that you felt became useful to convince your bank that this is a great product, you may not have any other customers doing young jackfruit exports, but so your risk frameworks don't even cover it, but here's why I'm great. Any tips and tricks, any hacks that you think others could use when they face this difficulty on finance?
Unfortunately, if it's somewhere else and you want to do something new, there are backers and financiers. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, it doesn't work that way. If you want to do basically something which is already existing, I think there's more support. Hence, the trick and trick, as in hack, is basically to make sure that you're persistent with your efforts, to make them certain that, okay, I'm going through ahead with this, whether you're coming or not. So I think that's what worked for me, because at the final meeting, I anyway said construction is almost done. We've started the project, whether the finance is coming or not. So we've invested almost our 60%. So they knew, okay, I was dead serious on this project.
And the equity component coming in more.
Exactly.
So time to wrap up, I think, with perhaps really getting under the head and the heart of Sahan. As someone who is already making waves in this space and who wants to grow even more, if I was to ask you, what's one principle that you stay true to and kind of guides you and continue to live by to make sure that your business is a success in this quite new and exciting space?
So it's about listening to the customers and trying to innovate based on where the market is going. So why I say that is, now even though I started in 2014 with organic spices, in 2016 we pivoted towards nutraceuticals because customers were asking for organic spices and herbs not in commodity form but in capsules and other value-added form. So we pivoted into that business. So that's a separate line of business which is going well. Then it was about identifying this demand for young jackfruit over the years and trying to come up with value-added products because that's where the market is going, and to basically innovate products like that. So the main thing we try to do is basically listen to the customer, identify the exact needs, and then try to innovate so that our innovation curve meets their demand curve somewhere down the line.
Cool. Thank you very much, Sahan. Being persistent in getting what you want, particularly from financing point of view, and listening to the customers relentlessly, I think, and using that input to continuously refine your product as well as the market approach. I think really good lessons. I hope you'll take the opportunity to chat to Sahan more on some of the things he said and perhaps things we didn't get to cover. Thanks, man.
Thanks so much.
See you later. Thanks, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sahan, who's the CEO of Plant-Based, a vegan brand that manufactures a range of vegan food and beverages. He's also the founder of Silk Road Ventures, the very finest of spices and the nourishing wellness of ancient Ayurveda herbal products to the world's doorstep. And of course, the moderator was Anushka Vijay, the co-founder for Center for a Smart Future and an international consultant to the International Trade Center of Geneva. Let's give them another big hand of applause. Now, at this juncture, the time is around 12:19. We've been going through some of the introductions to the 6 companies that you listed here. I'd like to also make a special note at this point, because her name was mentioned at a few occasions as well, the only female participant in the program. She's admittedly known as the Green Goddess, Ms. Lakshmini Virakodi, the founder of Luck Nature International. Another champion of the program takes the wholesome goodness of Gotu color and adds value in the form of health food range while empowering an all-female workforce. So this evening at our demo event, she, along with the other 5 participants, will take to the stage to pitch their companies and their brand philosophy. So another invitation goes out to the invites here as well. If you're interested in taking part in it and listening to their pitches, the time would be 5:45 for you to come in, and we'll start at 6 p.m. So thank you very much. Now, the Lost Ingredients Lab was made possible due to the collaborative between countries, the grant received by the European Union, and the implementation through GIZ. Thanks to this initiative, the Genesis project, along with Good Life X, will continue to work initiated through this foreign grant. So, to share thoughts about the funding process and in giving an opportunity to Sri Lanka, we would like to invite Buddhika Gunasekara, the Private Sector Advisor, SME Sector Development Program Sri Lanka of the GIZ, to address the gathering. Buddhika, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll make it short and sweet, actually. It's so great to be here with you all, and thank you to the Dilmah team for making this program a very success. You've done a great hard work. I would say Shamodi, Damit, your finance team, the communications teams, and again, Randula's team, you all done a very well done job. It's been a difficult few months, but I'm so proud to be here to see the rewards of the first phase of the final day of the Lost Ingredients Lab. The world is changing. You can see the pattern shifting with the demand growing daily for sustainability produced goods, conscious consumerism is no longer a fashionable statement, but it is the new norm now. The multi-dome action between the European Union and the German Federal Ministry of Economic Development and Cooperation, which is implemented by GIZ Sri Lanka through the support of Small and Medium Enterprises Sector Program, seek to address this change. The program is structured to support the organic agriculture sector in Sri Lanka by providing SMEs access to new markets, partnerships, and matchmaking opportunities, and supporting businesses with certification. Kudos to Dilhan and his team to this fantastic Genesis concept and platform. And when we were introduced to the Genesis project by Dilmah, we found the partner that shared our vision for a sustainable future very exciting. We are thrilled to be part of the journey and awaits all the good things we are sure will follow. The Lost Ingredients Lab program successfully infused innovative thinking of early stage startups and small businesses to make them globally minded. The 6 fantastic companies you will meet today, you already have met today actually, and the products they bring in with this Lost Ingredients Lab project. The lab project is truly believe in the years to come that will be the next GI certification for the country. The beneficiaries of the Lost Ingredients Lab included were not just the only agri and agri-tech entrepreneurs, also the other parties involved in the expansion, particularly those in the agriculture, food, and food innovation industries. A big thank you to you all once again, Dilmah team and the Good Life X team who supported the implementation of this successful program, and you all being here and supporting this huge achievement. I look forward to participate with few of my colleagues for the tonight's demo day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Budhika. Can you remember the time you took your seat today? What time was it? What time was it? 10? 15? All right, so you were here for about 129 minutes listening to what will happen in another few months with everything that is being presented here today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take this opportunity to share our sincere thanks with the audience, that is you who joined us today, who shares the same passion as Dilmah T and Good Life X does, as well as our sincere thanks goes to the partners involved, the MDA of EU and German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ, and the GIZ. Finally, kudos to the teams from Dilmah T and Good Life X for putting this event together, and of course, the event to come in the evening. And finally, for the companies who are presenting their pitch this evening, let us wish you all the very best. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This marks the end of the day's agenda. Thank you. All right, not forgetting now, as you move or as you exit from the premises, there are refreshments served to your left. All right, and this time those are not live food, but of course you can still go ahead with it. So thank you very much. Enjoy the refreshments as well. Thank you.